Top tips for retirement planning at age 59, next on Retiring Today. This is Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Clint Huntrods and Loren Merkle. They're both certified financial fiduciaries. Loren is a certified financial planner and Clint has a PhD. If you are age 59 and dreaming about retirement, we've got a great show for you today because not only do we have some action steps, we're going to share some great strategies that could put you in a better position for retirement. So let's talk about age 59. Clint, you sit down with people who are age 59 all the time. What kind of mindset are they in at this point?
Yeah, I just had a couple that I met with the other day, and when they sat down, they said, hey, we've got our kids out of the house. We've raised them, got them to college. Now we need to start focusing on us. And so in many cases, families at 59 and a half or 59 are starting to think about taking an inventory of the retirement assets they have and starting to ask that question, do I have enough? And when can I start to plan to retire?
Yeah, and I would imagine at that time there's some excitement, right? You've worked for a long time, you're starting to save money. But also, Lauren, I know you meet with people that have a lot of concerns at age 59.
Yeah, and that is the number one concern is, do I have enough? You've been working for 30 plus years. It's your life savings, and you know that this money has to last for the next 20, maybe 30 years. That is a scary proposition going into a time frame that you've never been into before with a whole bunch of unknowns. The second one, especially in times like what we're in currently with a lot of market volatility, is that money that you have. You're remembering 2008 and you remember your 401k plan dropping by 50%, maybe 40. And you're thinking that was fine when I was working and I had 10, 15, 20 years left before retirement. But now you're on the doorsteps of retiring, trying to go through that door. And you know, if your portfolio goes down by 50% today, it's going to change your prospects of retiring, and that is a big, scary thing for most retirees, pre-retirees.
And it is scary, but the good news is it doesn't have to be as scary as you watch that market drop, because there are things you can do right now at age 59. That's what we want to focus on today. And one of the strategies that people can look at or consider at 59 is an in-service rollover.
And that's why a lot of people choose to celebrate 59 and a half like it's their birthday, because for the very first time in many, many decades, they've been able to take control over their portfolio from an employer-sponsored plan like a 401k plan. Most 401k plans today allow you, once you obtain 59 and a half, to take that money from the 401k and move it to an IRA, an individual retirement account, which means that money now is underneath your control and you have a whole universe of investment options available than what you've never had before underneath an employer-sponsored plan. Now, one important point with this, when you move that money from the 401k plan to the IRA, you still leave that 401k plan open and you're still contributing to that 401k plan. And in this strategy, you're using both of these for what they're designed for. You have the IRA, where you're housing most of your retirement assets. You have more control. You can invest in, have way more investment options. And then you have your money underneath your 401k plan, the new money going in. Because everybody likes the free money from the employer. Most employers do match, that's free money. And then it's easier to contribute because it just gets deducted from the paycheck, and you can contribute a whole lot more on an annual basis to your 401k plan, your employer plan, than what you can the IRA. So use both of those for what they're designed for. 59 and a half for most people is a great time to celebrate.
So understand what it is. You take the money from the 401k and roll it into the IRA. But Clint, you're going to show us not only why we would want to do it, but one very specific strategy and how powerful it can be.
Yeah, and this is something we help families with all the time. So as we look at that example of the family who's now 59 and a half, they have the ability to do an in-service rollover. They're going to take those dollars that they have in the 401k, roll those out into an IRA. Now they have the entire array of the market to choose from for investment options. In many cases, can allow them to implement some new investment strategies maybe they haven't had an opportunity to, or access to before. And that can, in many cases, help them when it comes to market volatility. We meet with a lot of families who are on that runway to retirement, and they just say, hey, I'm tired of this market roller coaster. I've been through 2008, I've been through 2020, I've been through 2022, and I don't want to participate in the highest highs and the lowest lows of the market anymore, at least with my entire 401k balance. And so this is just an example of 2024 and some of the market volatility that we've seen, where families were feeling really good as the market was going up. And then all of a sudden with that big dip, almost a 10% swing in a single day, now families are starting to feel, whoa, I'm not ready to go through the next recession. I want to make sure that I'm taking some safeguards and some protections to the assets that I've worked so hard to save for my entire working career. So in this particular example, we can think about a family who rolls over $1 million 401k into an IRA. For a portion of that $1 million IRA, now they could consider this type of strategy with about $300,000. This is a fixed indexed annuity strategy with an income purpose or an income goal behind it. And how this works is that this family would invest $300,000 into this type of strategy, and then the company that offers this would give them a bonus initially. And so that $300,000 premium that they've put in now has a benefit base of $378,000. Over time, they're going to get the ability to roll that benefit base up by 7.25% compounding year over year for up to a 10-year period of time. So in this particular case, if this family maybe wanted to retire at 65 or 66, and then they could turn this on for income, it would deliver a $2,673 a month benefit for the rest of their lives. This is a really powerful strategy that could help this family from an income planning standpoint. You think about maybe at this point they're turning on their Social Security benefits. This is almost like a third Social Security benefit that can really help to stabilize their retirement income plan. If it works in this particular family's plan, they could roll this up all the way, as I mentioned, for up to 10 years. If they were to wait that full 10 years, and now they're looking to turn this on for income for life at age 69 and a half, well then now this would deliver almost $3,500 a month as long as one of these members of this particular couple is alive. This is kind of like creating their own private pension plan that, again, can really start to give them a feeling of much more safety and guarantee around their income plan rather than maybe the market volatility that they've been previously experiencing in their 401k. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if this family had retired at, let's say, age 65, and then they waited 1 year for this type of strategy to be implemented, they would probably receive a monthly benefit that would be a lot closer to $1,800 a month rather than the potential numbers that we see here, which is $2,600 or almost $3,500 a month. So a huge benefit to taking control over those assets at 59 and a half. One of the best assets outside of the premium into the strategy is time and how this benefit will roll up over that 10-year cycle or 7 years if that's when they decide it makes sense in their plan to turn it on. This particular strategy can help to give this family a lot more safety, a lot more guarantees a part of their income plan, and just peace of mind as they start to think about the market volatility is not going to impact at least this portion of our overall investment portfolio. So when we think about the birthdays as we get older, we sometimes don't always get excited about celebrating them. This would be one at 59 and a half to mark on the calendar and get excited to celebrate 59 and a half.
Clint, that strategy perfectly exemplifies the benefit of taking control over your money, putting it in the IRA, and also time value of money. I mean, if you're 59 and a half and you're not planning to retire for another 5 years, that does not mean it's good to leave that money underneath the 401k plan, because it's really hard to replicate that type of strategy underneath the 401k plan. The benefit of the IRA is you can literally invest in just about anything you want to, including that type of strategy. Now, it goes in a world that we're in today with only about 15% of workers who have access to a corporate pension. That is an incredible way to provide some extra guarantees, extra safety in the form of a personal pension that offers that peace of mind that you mentioned. And that's exactly what pre-retirees and retirees are looking for: certainty, stability, and peace of mind as they make these oftentimes permanent financial decisions.
What about that 7.25 number? That does kind of change depending on the interest rate environment, or what determines that?
Yeah, and we looked at some quotes for an example today. The interest rate environment we're in is relatively high, so that gives a strong benefit base initially, also gives that roll up. That changes over time. As interest rates come down, those numbers are likely to come down, which gets to the importance of taking that next step. Talking with a retirement planner about, hey, is this a strategy that could fit? Does my plan allow for in-service rollover at 59 and a half to get something like this started? Because we never know what offerings could be in the future.
And this is part of where the customization of your retirement income plan really is important, because that strategy, as powerful as it is for those it works for and as good as it sounds, it's not right for everybody. So some people will want to have a completely different income strategy. They need to have a completely different income strategy. Some people, that strategy works really perfect. You need to identify what particular strategies are right for you. Does it mean leave it with the 401k, take it out of the 401k, and then how do you invest it underneath one of those? You have the right strategy with the right plan, then you can have the right retirement.
We'll continue talking about action steps to improve your retirement situation at age 59 and answer some questions that we've received recently during our online Journey to Retirement workshop. Next.
You dream of a happy retirement, but there are some big questions to answer first. Do I have enough saved? When should I take Social Security? How will I pay for health care and keep up with inflation? Go to merkleretire.com to schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call to talk directly with a retirement planner and get answers to your important retirement questions. The first step to your retirement starts with a 15-minute retirement checkup call.
Do I have enough saved for retirement? When should I take Social Security? Which Medicare option is best? How do I plan for inflation? Sometimes the road to retirement starts with more questions than answers. We're here to help. Join us for our upcoming Journey to Retirement workshop. Get answers and start your retirement journey with confidence. Our online workshop includes information on Secure Act 2.0 and changing retirement rules. Visit retirewithmerkle.com to register for an upcoming workshop. Your retirement journey starts now.
The Merkle Retirement Planning Team provides personable and professional expertise unrivaled in this area. They include us in every step of the planning process. The peace of mind provided to us by the Merkle team allows us to fully enjoy this special time of our lives. Instead of feeling snakebit, we feel confident that with the Merkle Retirement Planning Team at our sides, we can navigate any challenge that comes our way.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. Now it's time to answer a question that we got recently during our online Journey to Retirement workshop. Here's the question we received. Should you contribute pre-tax 401k and then convert to Roth? So Clint, this question came in during the tax planning pillar of the online Journey to Retirement workshop, set up for people what that portion of the workshop covers.
Well, that portion shows John and Sue, this couple that you're following through retirement in the workshop, saving over $100,000 on their cumulative retirement tax bill. And that's a point that we always hear families, their feedback is that got my attention.
Got mine.
Anytime I can think about $100,000 that's going to be we can keep, we can spend it, or we can pass it on as part of our legacy, that gets families' attention. And this is just one strategy, is to consider that Roth conversion. It's something that you want to weigh. What's our current tax bracket versus what's our tax bracket likely to be in retirement? And it really gets down to the importance of having a customized tax plan specifically to you and your family.
Yeah, and if you perked up when you heard save $100,000 on taxes, I'm just going to give you an inside tip here. You can see it all play out. It's by signing up for that Journey to Retirement workshop. There is a phone number on your screen right now. Just text Journey to the workshop and we'll get you set up with a time and date that works for you. And you can see our retirement planners go through that exact example that Clint was talking about. But let's get back to this question at hand here, Loren. What is the answer to the question?
This is a nuanced question that we don't usually get that often. We're bringing this type of strategy to people. So I love this because it's very detailed. The state of Iowa recently changed their estate tax law, which says if you're age 55 or older, you no longer have to pay state tax on retirement income. A Roth conversion is considered retirement income. So in this question, if you're 55 or older and you're in the tax bracket where it makes sense to do Roth conversions, we might want to think about it a little bit, because if you're contributing to a 401k plan, you might want to contribute to the 401k plan on the pre-tax side, because when your pre-tax contributions go in, you do not pay federal tax or state tax on that contribution when it goes into that 401k plan. So if you're contributing the maximum that you can contribute this year, $30,500, including the catch-up, that could be about a $1,200 savings with a 4% effective Iowa state tax rate, about a $1,200 savings on taxes going in. And then wait a minute, you're not done. You convert $30,000 or $30,500 or whatever is appropriate to you. And then on that conversion, you also are not paying state tax on the conversion. Whereas if you just took money underneath the IRA and you converted it to the Roth, you're not paying state tax. But if you contribute to the Roth 401k plan instead of the pre-tax 401k plan, you will pay state tax on that income on that contribution, because it doesn't go in tax deferred, it goes in after tax. So just a very little known strategy that can be effective. I mean, $1,200, that's a lot of money, and it's an easy maneuver that you can implement right away.
Yeah, every little bit counts. And I do think I've read that a lot of states are going to not taxing retirement income because they know about this. It's not a kept secret. Baby boomers, 12,000 people are turning 65 every day by the middle of the year in 2024. And I think every state is saying, no, hey, here, come live here, and here's why.
Yeah, and especially a state like Iowa, where we have a lot of really attractive things, or a lot of good reasons to live here. The weather, however, in February particularly, is not one of them. And Clint, we've had a lot of conversations with families that we work with where they were planning on snowbirding or moving for at least, or living somewhere else for at least 6 months out of the year from a state tax standpoint. Well, basically this state tax law change eliminated that benefit, and a lot of people have changed their minds. So it's working.
We see a lot of families that think, well, maybe I'll wait until retirement to implement some tax strategies. This goes to show, hey, you can implement potentially something right now. And that's the importance of having that comprehensive tax plan to help guide you through what steps are out there. And then also having retirement planners along your side to know what are those changes, how does that impact my plan. One thing that's for certain is whether it's state tax or whether it's federal tax, there's going to be continuing shifts. You want to make sure that you're on top of that. The people that you're working with on your retirement tax plan are going to be able to help you understand what does that mean to you and what strategies should you be implementing as a result.
Yeah, that's a great point. Tax laws are always changing. We know that is something that's a bit of a risk to retirement, and we go into some of the risks to retirement in the Journey to Retirement workshop.
We do. We talk about many risks of retiring and a lot of concerns that people have as they look to retire. And we go through the 6 different pillars that are involved in a retirement plan and the risks and concerns that are associated with those. So it's the lifestyle plan. What do you want your lifestyle to look like? How do you deliver the income to afford that lifestyle? The tax planning, Clint, that you had referenced, the healthcare planning. How do you navigate expensive individual healthcare costs if you retire prior to Medicare age? And then what do you do with Medicare once you do turn 65 and aren't eligible for Medicare? The legacy planning, and then of course the investment plan piece. Investing in retirement is way different than investing when you're working. We cover all of those in the Journey to Retirement.
And if we haven't made it clear with the strategy that you talked about on the in-service rollover, or the strategy you talked about with tax planning, 59 is not too early. It's not too early to take the first step to improving your situation to retirement. You can do it by checking out our Journey to Retirement workshop. You just text Journey to the number on your screen right now. It's that simple. Then you can choose a time and a date that works for you, and you will learn about all the things we're talking about. And I'm telling you, there are strategies, there's action steps, things you can do right now to get ready for retirement. But we've still got a few more things to tell you about age 59 next.
Do I have enough saved for retirement? When should I take Social Security? Which Medicare option is best? How do I plan for inflation? Sometimes the road to retirement starts with more questions than answers. We're here to help. Join us for our upcoming Journey to Retirement workshop. Get answers and start your retirement journey with confidence. Our online workshop includes information on Secure Act 2.0 and changing retirement rules. Visit retirewithmerkle.com to register for an upcoming workshop. Your retirement journey starts now.
Anytime I have even the smallest question about my accounts or what effect the latest tax law might have on my situation, the Merkle Retirement Planning Team is always there and quick to help. I'm so glad they treat you like family. I'm so happy to have such an excellent team working for my future and ensuring I do the best to achieve my financial goals.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Do you wonder if you have enough saved for retirement? Will your money last as long as you do? Will taxes, healthcare costs, and inflation derail your retirement? Get answers. Schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call today. We can cover a lot in 15 minutes, including strategies you can implement now to start your retirement journey. Schedule a call at merkleretire.com. The first step to a confident retirement starts with a simple phone call.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Loren Merkle and Clint Huntrods, and we're talking about action steps for age 59. So let's get right to it, because this one, Loren, is really important. If you are 59, it's a great time to work with a professional to get a really good understanding about how much risk you're taking with your investments.
And that's what a lot of people are concerned about. Every time you turn on the news, you hear about how the stock market's up, how the stock market's down. How does that impact your portfolio? Because just because the stock market's up doesn't mean that your portfolio is necessarily up like the market, or same thing when the market goes down. But in retirement, you really need to know how much risk you're taking in your portfolio and how much risk is appropriate for your particular retirement plan based on how much income you need to take out, what kind of longevity you have built into your plan. All these factors go into it. And this is why we spend a lot of time working with our families when we initially create the plan, but also on an ongoing basis, because a lot of these variables do change. Determining what kind of risk are they taking now, how much risk should they be taking, how do we change that, and then also what do we do, what strategies do we implement within the overall portfolio to make sure that that portfolio can persist no matter what happens to the stock market over the next 20 to 30 years in their retirement.
And if you're 59 and you don't know how much risk you're taking, don't feel bad, right? Because a lot of the families, when you sit down, it's a very eye-opening experience for them, Clint.
Yeah, and that's something that we really like to help them understand. Here's how much risk you're currently taking. What does that mean? We're not going to go through a recession. It's just a matter of when. If that were to happen, what kind of response would your portfolio have the way it's currently invested? And we love to just hear what families think. And we oftentimes find that between a couple, they might have very different responses or reactions to that.
Yeah.
So at age 59, as you're kind of getting closer and closer, just a few years out from retirement, it can be good to take that assessment and then talk across the couple and say, hey, what's appropriate moving forward, making sure that both of them are on the same page. Because in many cases, one of them has maybe handled the finances a little bit more historically. Now's a great time to take inventory, make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, and make changes. It's not too late to make changes. 59 is a great time to make changes.
It's never too late to make changes. 59 is a great time to look at, are you on track? Do you need to make some adjustments? But just making sure that you are on the same page. If you're married, making sure that you're on the same page with your spouse and everybody's in agreement with how that looks. And if you're working with an advisor, making sure that your advisor understands what you expect out of them and out of the portfolio from a movement standpoint when the markets do what they do, and making sure that you understand what your advisor is expecting from the portfolio. All of that alignment is absolutely essential as you make that transition.
Another action step is catch-up contributions. Those are available at age 50. The IRS lets you add a little bit more money to some of your accounts. So by 59, if you haven't done that yet, it might be a good time to take advantage of it.
Yeah, take a look at what you can now additionally add to your 401k, about $7,500 per year. And then from a Roth IRA or IRA standpoint, you now have $1,000 extra that you can contribute towards that. One thing that we see a lot is that I've had a conversation at least twice in the last week where families say, no, we know there's a limit on how much we can contribute to a Roth IRA. And sometimes they get phased out and they stop paying attention or worrying about it as much. But one thing that they should know is that there is no limit on Roth conversions. It just has to make sense in your plan from a tax standpoint. But that's one thing that we hear a lot of families maybe are a little little unclear. Do we have a limit on what we can convert? And the answer is no, but it also has to make sense in your larger tax plan.
Yeah, people are saying, we hear you talk about the Roth all the time, but I think it's too late for me. And they're thinking about from a contribution standpoint to build any kind of meaningful wealth underneath this tax-free vehicle, this investment. But in reality, it's not. The most optimal time for a lot of people to start with Roths, to build that Roth, is the first calendar year when you retire. That first calendar year, your tax environment might look way more attractive than during your working year. So it's not too late to evaluate Roth, not Roth, and where the contribution should be going, and should conversions make sense.
And did you see how fired up these guys got about Roth? And here's why. Roth conversions can be very powerful in retirement. You might be wondering, what is a Roth conversion? How does it work? I've heard about it. I've got questions. I thought there were limits. Oh, there's not. In our Journey to Retirement workshop, John and Sue, they use a Roth conversion. They use it to add more to their spendable income in retirement. So you can see that play out during the Journey to Retirement workshop. To sign up for this complimentary workshop, you can text JOURNEY to the number that's on your screen. Just text JOURNEY. JOURNEY. I had to think, not that anyone needs me to spell it. Thank goodness for phones that just spell for you. Talk Journey into your phone.
I thought you were going to sing it out there.
I don't know. I was just kind of actually challenging myself to spell Journey. If you don't spell it right, it's okay. We know what you're talking about. But this Journey to Retirement workshop not only goes through the Roth conversion, not only goes through other action stuff, it's just a great way, Clint, to see what's coming, what lies ahead, what decisions you'll make as you head through retirement.
We're talking about when you're age 59. One thing we haven't mentioned is your healthcare plan, and just starting to think about what that looks like. Maybe you're going to retire before 65. Does COBRA make sense? What's the open market look like? Once you get to Medicare eligibility age, how do you navigate all those different options that are out there? We're fortunate to have Anna Marie Morrow, who leads that section of the Journey to Retirement workshop and works with our families every day on their healthcare plan to ensure they know what that moving part that's going to happen as they near and enter retirement is going to look like for them.
Loren, who should text Journey? I won't make you spell it. Who should text Journey? Sing it, yeah. Text Journey to the number on the screen. Who's a good candidate for that?
If you're age 57 or older and retirement is starting to creep into your mind more and more, you are an excellent candidate to take away a lot of information from the strategy-packed Journey. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. What I really like about it is you can consume this information from the comfort of your own home because it is online, yet you still have the opportunity to type in questions that you've been thinking about, whether it's spurred from the content and Journey or it's just things that you have been thinking about. Get answers to your questions. And if we can't get to your question on the Journey, then maybe it'll appear on the show, like the question that we had here on this show today.
So text Journey to the number on your screen to sign up for that complimentary workshop today. This is Retiring Today. We thank you for watching.
Do I have enough saved for retirement? When should I take Social Security? Which Medicare option is best? How do I plan for inflation? Sometimes the road to retirement starts with more questions than answers. We're here to help. Join us for our upcoming Journey to Retirement workshop. Get answers and start your retirement journey with confidence. Our online workshop includes information on Secure Act 2.0 and changing retirement rules. Visit retirewithmerkle.com to register for an upcoming workshop. Your retirement journey starts now.
You dream of a happy retirement, but there are some big questions to answer first. Do I have enough saved? When should I take Social Security? How will I pay for health care and keep up with inflation? Go to merkleretire.com to schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call to talk directly with a retirement planner and get answers to your important retirement questions. The first step to your retirement starts with a 15-minute retirement checkup call.